Hello, everyone, and welcome to NiteLife Exchanges, where we talk about the nightlife. And before I go any further, I need to bring on the co-host for the show. So, Tony, hey, Tony, come on
Hey,
on.
I'm on.
There he
I can't
is.
wait.
Tony Javed is with us here. I'm here, and we have a good show ahead of us. I have to say I'm excited about it because of our guests, the history of our guests, and also all of the work that he's brought and done to create such amazing stuff in this nightlife world that we live in. Tony, none of us can choose where we are born and raised, and all of that. It kind of happens. You land where you are, but this fellow, boy, he landed in some spot. He,
He
he,
sure
he,
did.
he landed in growing up in one of the most venerated establishments in this business, the Algonquin Hotel. So, without further ado, we're gonna show you a little something about Mr. Michael Colby, and he is known as the Algonquin Kid.
Just a little New York kid growing up in Algonquin. Seeing sights like you kids did growing up in the Algonquin. Visiting Granny and Grandpa each week, staying for a show. I talk to Harpo and also speak to friends like Lerner and Lowe. Dad would drive us and what fun showing up at the Algonquin. Me the cute carsick one throwing up in the Algonquin. But this klutz who classmates teased last week on a team found it back at the Algonquin. Life was like a dream. Like the evening Grandpa complained about all the noise on the floor below him, keeping him up. It was Lerner and Low writing, I could have danced all night. Or the afternoon Granny was flashed on the corner by Marilyn Monroe. You think this mink is something, Mrs. Bodney? You should see what's underneath. I wish I'd been invited over that day.
Hello.
Yes, I'm still cooling off after the Marilyn Monroe recollection.
Amazing
I can imagine.
stuff. Yeah, amazing stuff. Michael, firstly, I want to just say that, your grandparents, I want to just send a message up to them. Thank you. The Bodneys, Mary and Ben Bodney,
Yes.
for taking the Algonquin when it had been started prior to them, but they took it to the next level, and created an amazing space that housed so much of and gave birth to so much of what became this business that we're in, nightlife and cabaret. So
They took over right after World War II when it was in disrepair, and they secretly, like elves in the night, would reupholster the lobby and other places. So when people woke up, they would think that they were everything had been colorized and improved like magic.
right. Well, they worked magic, and they gave so many opportunities. So, you're a lyricist and you've worked on a lot of music and all, but incredible. Were you there when your grandfather complained about the noise that was coming from Lerner and Lowe?
Oh, well, I wasn't there that night, but I had my own Lerner and Lowe experience where Frederick Lowe, when they were writing Camelot, told me, you're a cute kid. You'd be just right for the page in Camelot. And so I went to camp, and I got all the leads telling people that I was going to play the page in Camelot. And my parents didn't want me to leave school, but as a consolation prize, my grandmother took me to my first opening night, which was Camelot.
Amazing. Camelot, which was what an incredible show for that period, would set the tone for a generation.
Yes,
Which
the
you and I
Kennedy
are,
years.
yeah, you and I are of that generation. The music and the musicals from that period of time in the 60s, how important it was to just the whole growth of what we became as a country.
I was very blessed to grow up to see that and get to know many of the people, and also develop a perspective, because I saw people in the arts who were on the way up and they were getting, their heads were swelling, and then
Right.
the ones on the on going down, and what a difference in how you have to prepare for anything.
But the hotel and your grandparents helped people get through rough spots and periods of time, and help them financially by maybe giving them a break, not having to pay that rent or that whatever the fee was at the moment, so that they could get back into the next show. And so, I mean,
Well,
they were extremely supportive.
there were some people like Dorothy Parker. I don't know if she ever paid her full bill,
There you go.
but besides all the cultural aspects, I'm so proud because my grandparents, number one, made the hotel a haven during during McCarthyism. People like John Henry Falk went to live there as a free member of the family, and years later a book was written, and he sued CBS and got a big settlement, and then a movie was made of that book, and who bought it? CBS. So and then it was one of the first New York hotels that was in the Green Book, and there's just so much that historically
A lot happened there for sure. A lot of things. I believe the first time a cigarette was smoked by a woman was in the lobby of the Algonquin. So,
well, I don't know. I'm a non-smoker, so I wasn't there.
That was prior to, that was back in the earlier part of its time.
Yes.
Scandal.
Yes.
So
Yes.
did your grandparents make it onto that list of luminaries that were the people that were harassed by the McCarthy period? Or
No, they did not.
they didn't. They're lucky then, right? Because we know about lists,
Right.
and helping anybody that your enemy doesn't like puts you on a list. So
No. Well, that was also true of theater. Theater was the place, the oasis where people could go and still get work during that period. So what was going on in Hollywood and in the press wasn't necessarily true of
right.
the Great White Way.
Right. It stayed a little purer there and a little safer. And so, Michael, the period of time, the Algonquin that I'm familiar with, Steve Ross in the Oak Room there, and I saw many acts there with Arthur Pomposello seating the room.
Well, one of the things I'm doing, other lives began as a benefit for Urban Stages in their Winter Rhythm series. And next year I'm doing 2 shows for them. One will be their gala, Nights at the Algonquin, which will be a tribute to the golden days of the Oak Room. And we're going to have people like Steve Ross and Karen Akers and Katie Sullivan and Jeff Harner recreating highlights of their acts. And then another performance will be created at the Algonquin, where we're doing songs that were partly written for shows at the Algonquin, shows like Camelot, My Fair Lady, Sail Away, and a few of mine like Charlotte Sweet, which was up for 3 Drama Desk nominations.
Absolutely.
Rubbed off on me. What can I say?
Those are 2 wonderful programs. And you are actually on the board now at Urban Stages?
Yes, I am.
Well, congratulations on that.
I've done 3 very successful shows for them, and we expect the next 2 will be sellouts.
Sounds like.
Well,
it's an embarrassment of riches.
The history element is incredible. And I know, like one of the great nights at the one of the great performers at the Algonquin. I mean, there was so many, but legendary Sylvia Sims,
Oh,
which is the sad story, but passing at the end of a show in the Oak Room.
well,
Which is
of the people I was closest to were Mary Claire Harron, Julie Wilson, but especially Sylvia Sims. She invested in Charlotte Sweet, and I had a phone conversation that the next album she was planning to do was Sylvia Sets New Standards, and she was going to include my songs. And I have a tape. It's that she was worried my grandfather was hospitalized while she was at the hotel, and she complained about having allergic reactions to the Algonquin cat. And just by sheer chance, she and my grandfather passed away on consecutive days. And I have the recording.
I mean, everybody passes. That was a great loss, but what an incredible performer in this world.
And that's the way to go.
New York. Yeah. That's definitely the way to go.
The sound of applause.
She went the
David Burns on stage and Dick Shawn. They all had applause surrounding them.
In a place that they loved. And for her, for sure, that was her room.
Manna from heaven as they were on the way.
Yeah. Right. So the project that you finished with Urban Stages was a compilation of all of these different songs, Other Lives. Some of the songs, can you tell me, just give me an idea of where the material came from?
The history is, during COVID, I was not just going to sit idle. One of the things I did immediately with the collaborator Ned Paul Ginsberg is I created a video, The Theater Will Survive, and I had all kinds of stars on that, like Faith Prince and Judy Kay, and Anita Gillette. And then the next thing was I was getting calls from my friends in the theater who were on a hiatus and anxious to exercise their talents again. And so I assigned story songs to each one. And then when Urban Stages asked me to do another show for them, I said, well, what about an evening of story songs in which every single performer had their moment in the spotlight to tell a story and do a little playlet. And it was such a reinforcing community love-in of some of the people hadn't been on stage since COVID. And I not only had veterans, but I had a lot of newcomers who I felt were just as deserving of being part of the future of the theater, which at that point was very precarious.
Absolutely. And the nice thing about your songs are they do tell it that the story is complete. You can
they're all playlets. They're all playlets.
Which is an old, this is something that that is not as often seen these days, and so it's appreciated that you write in that style, which is just it rounds it all out. It gives the whole feel. We have some clips. Put together, we compiled some clips of these story songs by a bunch of artists that worked with you during the taping Other Lives at the theater. So let's roll that now, Tony, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some of these other lives.
All right.
Grown-up junior joined a firm to cheat, extort, and rob. Whence his mother used the term, at least he has a job. Still he served 10 years, once nabbed. It made the news, page 1. Reading that, his mother gabbed. Look, there's my darling son, of a gun. Yes, that's my darling son.
I swear, people sing when sad. Lights are pink and gold, villains rude when bad, happy endings told. talking about automation, taking over old-time service, elevator operator, 40 years served and done. Now someone with nowhere to go to, someone out of date, ill-suited. Moms, 2 moms, 1 and 1 moms, extra fun moms, day by day, 2 moms, how those 2 care, why should you care if they're gay?
Yep, we're gay.
Do-do-do, 2 moms, do-do-do. Is no one there to show this child some pity? A kindly someone somewhere in the city. Don't leave this child to cry alone, to be alone, to die alone. An innocent, abandoned in the wild. Does no one care how much this boy will suffer? When
Take the rock through space to some heavenly place where the stars and the comets fly. You'll see cows over moons, floating kites and balloons in the playland, sweet as pie. When I visit the park, you can visit the park. I can dream, you can dream, we can dream to the
Oh boy.
That's wonderful.
Oh boy.
Let me quickly rattle off some of the people you saw. Clea Blackhurst, Ari Axelrod, David Edwards, Maureen Taylor, Joshua Turchin, Stuart Zagnet, Talia Cato, David Edwards, and Haya Kim. And Michael Levine was at the piano. Sarah Lazarus directed. And in fact, Maureen has another album of my songs, Cosmic Connections, lyrics of Michael Colby, for which she was nominated for a MAC Award.
Excellent. And that compilation from that show, folks, you need to get the music, and that's available. Tony, you want to tell them how they can get a CD? There it is. Other Lives at jrecords.com.
Yep. Of course, you can get it on your favorite streaming platforms too if you don't do CDs anymore. But get the CD.
And you worked with all of these incredible people.
Yeah.
Now,
and other incredible people too. We just had so much room, but every song was a wonderful experience in its own right.
can I ask you, Michael? So, how did this? Sarah did the directing.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Levine did the the piano, was back there doing the musical direction.
Mm-hmm.
Did these individuals come in? Were you there the whole time, or did you come in and sort of watch once they had created their individual? Because it's all self-contained, each person.
Yes. It was pieced together where Michael Levine rehearsed the individuals, and then Sarah and I came and gave some feedback, and if anything needed to be adjusted, we made it on the spot. And this was like a week's process, and we went to a studio because Um, John Yap of J Records has become just such a great champion of mine. He said, I want to put this on record. So between our day off, we
Right.
just flew through all the songs and captured them.
Amazing. Well,
Very old school. And I mean, you can see with those clips. I mean, that's just a taste of the whole evening and the whole CD. But you said style before, Scott, but it's the styles. I mean, the range. I mean, is astounding and
we
a
covered
wonderful listen.
We covered important subjects too, like gun violence and how AI automation is taking over, and the problems with adoption these days, and just so many other important subjects we'll cover.
Important subjects and a lot of laughs.
Yes,
I think of many laughs throughout
right.
throughout the evening.
I almost want to include Beth Austin, who did a terrific song about loving a dog and how much a dog means through life.
These are all truisms in what we have happening in our world today. And the song, let me ask you about the song Two Moms.
Yes.
So where did that come from? Because that one seems particularly poignant for this day and age, as I see so many children being raised now by couples of all different kinds of couples. But the best part is that it seems to be very open, and we're getting a whole new generation of people that are being raised in unusual, as they would say in the old days, unusual ways.
And there's in different states, there's a whole range of reaction to that. Another theater that I've been connected since their inception is Tada Youth Theater. And Nina Trevins asked me and composer Ned Paul Ginsberg to write a show about adoption as seen through the eyes of kids. And we covered it was like a chorus line. And so the dark side, the light side, the joys, the difficulties. When we did the show in one place, people in the South, there were some people who walked out on the Two Moms number, and it just, well, you have to let people know that that there are all sides to life and how beloved those kids are. And
absolutely.
And if they can walk out on a number like that, which is so irresistible and catchy, and yes, an earworm, a real earworm.
And on the other hand,
it's adorable.
We expanded. They chose me to a full-length version, and the premiere was in Virginia, and it was during Adoption Month, and there was a mother with her daughter who sat right in front of me and Ned. We flew out for the premiere, and the girl was she was about 12 or 13. She was so uncomfortable being there. And when the show was over, the mother came to me and said, I can't thank you enough. My daughter, who has always felt strange because of this situation, she said, I understand now, and I can't tell you how much I love you.
And there's the blessings of the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, when you can get, and reaction both ways, of course, but you know what, you're speaking truths. And you're doing it so well because I think the long history that you have, well, firstly, living here in New York City was a good place to really learn and start from. And then all of the individuals you had around you that gave good example of how to live life and how to be and how to interact. And you've got it, and you're staying with your finger on the pulse and writing about stuff that is still pertinent, and that's more than you can ask.
That was a translation of Yablokov classic Yiddish song, and it was originally about a boy who sells cigarettes. So I had to change that to matches, but I mean, my whole family came that route, and so it was very important to me to include that message.
Well, I just wanted to say, it seems to me it all ties back to that Algonquin Kid. I mean, clearly you are a lifelong observer,
Yes.
and you know, so I mean,
And
every one of
a
these is a
teacher during
real
the day.
character study.
During the day, I'm a substitute teacher, and being there for the kids, especially in places where they're underprivileged and they have suffered because of the break and the difficulties they have at home to begin with, and song is the way. Music is such a great healer and instructor, and if you can teach and delight, that all the more for it.
100%.
Absolutely. We could talk to you all day here,
Really good.
but we are going to wrap up because, of course, we want people to have a chance to go online and go to exactly jrecords.com and order a CD, or go to one of the platforms. We know you know what they are. So many of them now, and get this music and listen to it. And you'll hear all of the stories, and pick and choose what works in your life, but learn from it.
And stay tuned, not just for the phone in the background, but stay tuned for the upcoming events. There's going to be a production, a revival of Charlotte Sweet, I hope.
Nice.
There is going to be a big production of my Christmas show, Led Little Lad, and my Yiddish show may come back. And I got a million of them.
You do, and you have a million,
Michael.
and you have a million.
Sorry, Tony.
You have a million talented people. That, I mean, just the talent that you attract in all of these.
Yes,
I mean,
because
it's fabulous, and none of your shows are to be missed for the craft that you put into it and the talent that you attract.
It
Sorry,
takes
Scott.
a special knack to know who's right, because casting is so much. And even more important, it takes a respect and love of the people that you're working with. They're your mishpocha. I mean, and that's why I keep on attracting people who have been so good to me, and I've been good to them.
And for those that don't know what mishpocha is, that is the family. And Michael and I found out Michael's family and my family, my mother's side, we came from the same part of Russia, Odessa, and around the same time. Originally, the families came here. They brought so much to America, right?
One side of my family was in Brooklyn, one side was in Charleston. So I grew up like I was in both an Arthur Miller play and a Tennessee Williams play.
Well, mine stayed in the Brooklyn side, Michael. So I got a double hit of the Brooklyn. Thank you so much. And also, I just wanted to say, I've been to your website. Everything is there. If you go to michaelcolby.com, and you'll see also you're very generous. You have a lot of music up there for people to look at.
Yes.
So I hope some of these younger people can go there and let's keep doing these Michael Colby songs.
A lot of them are getting sung.
You can make a meal out of these songs. So check them out.
Yes.
And you keep writing them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
An honor to be here, and let people know how important it is to support music. And in my case, in the tradition of the Great American Songbook.
Absolutely.
Hear. Well,
all right, Tony.
To all the mishpocha who are watching us, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Until next time.
Bye
Thanks,
now.
Michael.